Does Garrett Cole make the Astros the clear-cut favorite to repeat as World Series champions? Can the Jacksonville Jaguars march into Foxborough and upset the New England Patriots? Which backup quarterback will come out on top this weekend in Philly? And can the New Orleans Saints recover from the devastating loss to the Minnesota Vikings? All these questions answered and more on this week's episode of The Breakdown.
Welcome to this week's episode of The Breakdown. I'm Mike.
And I'm Austin.
And we're going to just jump right into it. With the first question of the day. Austin, does Garrett Cole make the Astros the clear-cut favorites to win the World Series next year?
Abso-freaking-lutely. Man, I love this trade. How about you, man? You think
I
this trade
love
was
it.
good?
I think it was great for Houston. They're already a good team. They have the same team. They haven't lost anybody. They have the same core guy. And then they go and add a guy like Garrett Cole to their already good rotation. I mean, there's no doubt they're the clear-cut
This
favorites.
team won the World Series last year. They had a great lineup. Alex Bregman, Carlos Correa, Springer, the right fielder. They have a great young staff pitching-wise. And I think this guy is going to add a lot of value to this team along with Justin Verlander and Dallas Keuchel. I think this team is going to be ready and poised to make another run at another World Series title.
I absolutely agree. With that young lineup, and then now you have a rotation of Keuchel, Verlander, Cole, McCullers, Charlie Morton.
Right.
That is probably the best pitching rotation in all of baseball right now.
Yep, absolutely.
And you put that together with that young lineup, I mean, there's no doubt. They're the clear favorites.
Clear-cut favorites. Just want to give some stats on Garrett Cole. Pitched the last couple years with the Pittsburgh Pirates. Last year he had a 12-12 record, not fantastic, and 4.26 ERA. Like I said, it's not fantastic numbers, but this guy has proven in past years that he can be an ace and he can put up winning numbers. You're looking back at 2015, 19-8, ERA of 2.6. So, if he can get back to that type of form, and I think that lineup's going to help him improve, knowing he doesn't have to go out there and pitch a great game
I think
in order
so
to win.
too. And then you got to think too. He's probably honestly going to be the number 3 guy in that rotation. So he's not going to be going up against number ones like he has been of the past years. And before last year, he had a sub 3 ERA every year, never above a 3. He always was like the year before 3.8. Obviously, 2015, he had the 2.6, and he had 3.6, and then the year before, and then 3.2 of the year before that. So last year was definitely a rough year for him, but I definitely look to see him bounce back, being on a great team now.
I think he's going to be motivated too. Maybe, a couple years in Pittsburgh, not making the playoffs. Maybe he got to kind of, stop working as hard as he should be, but I think this team is going to motivate him, and you're going to get the best out of Garrett Cole.
I absolutely agree. I think that the clear-cut favorites now are getting a guy like him, and they just need to get the bullpen to improve, and I think they'll be fine.
All right. So moving on now, going to talk about the little football NFL action. Talk about past week's games and upcoming games. But the question I want to ask you to start it off is: can the Jacksonville Jaguars march into Foxborough this weekend and upset the New England Patriots?
Can they? Yes. Their defense gives them a chance against anybody. They have one of the best defenses in the league. I said this last week. They're only what holds them back or what's going to take them over the top is Blake Bortles. The play of Blake Bortles. I said this last week. What did they have to do to beat the Steelers? He needs to go out there. Don't be flashy. Just go, get your 200 yards, a touchdown or two, no turnovers. What did he do? Exactly what he did.
Right.
And what happened? They beat the Steelers. So if he could just, same performance, I think, with it being the Patriots, maybe a little bit more than 214 yards, maybe aim towards the 250 mark a little. But, touch, just don't turn the ball over. And they need Fournette to keep being the beast that he is. Feed the beast. My man was a stud last week. He had 3 touchdowns, over 100 yards rushing. The Steelers had no answer for him on defense. And they need to keep that same philosophy this week going into Foxborough. But for me personally, the experience of Belichick and Brady, I think, will just be too much for them.
So you have the Patriots winning.
I have the Patriots winning. They've had the experience. They've been there. This is Brady's 12th conference championship, and he's He's won 6 Super Bowls, and he's been there 8. So that's a great winning percentage when it comes to conference championships. And it's gonna be close. I'm gonna go with final. I'm gonna say 27-20. I just feel that offensively, when it comes down to it, the Jacksonville Jaguars just won't do enough.
I definitely agree with your point on can they go in Foxborough and beat the Patriots? Like you said, their defense, one of the best defense in the league. Got Jalen Ramsey, AJ Bouye playing great football on the outside at cornerback. Barry Church is a good safety, and up front they have one of the best front sevens in the NFL. You look at last week, they played Pittsburgh tough. They came out on top, but you look at the score last week. The Jacksonville Jaguars offense came alive. Like you said, Leonard Fournette, Blake Bortles had a good game managing the game and doing what they asked him to do. And for me, I don't see Jacksonville's defense giving up 42 points again. So I feel like they're going to be in this game. It's going to be a close game, but I do disagree with you. I'm going with the Jacksonville Jaguars, baby. Roll with Leonard Fournette. He's a local boy. I'm going with Jacksonville Jaguar. I think it's time for some new blood in the Super Bowl. Blake Bortles gets it done. I like Jacksonville to go into Foxborough and upset the Patriots 20-17, and it's gonna happen. Watch what I'm telling you.
We'll see. I'm rooting for Jacksonville just because, they're young. I like seeing new teams kind of get their chance and shot. But Patriots been there, done that. That's just my opinion.
They've been there, done that. But
we'll see. We'll definitely.
I just feel it in my gut. I feel like something's gonna happen this weekend. You got the other games going on. I think Blake Bortles being in the Super Bowl. Kind of surprising everybody, and I think New England's gonna come to an end. We're going to see, though. We're going to see. But I just feel
a good game. Like I said, I think it's my score prediction. I think it's going to be a really good game. It's going to be a fun game to watch.
Yep.
Without a doubt. So, but we'll see. We're definitely going to come see. But the one matchup I really want to talk about, who would have predicted this matchup going into the season? Which backup quarterback is going to come out on top this week in Philadelphia?
Man, if you would have told me this at the beginning of the season, two backup quarterbacks from Minnesota and Philly being in the conference championship game, I would have called you crazy and told you to check into a nut house, young man. But, it's happened. This NFL season has been great. It's been crazy. And, I like Minnesota Vikings in this game. Last week, Philadelphia played a very tough game, motivated game, very inspired football against Atlanta. A lot of people in the country and around the world have been doubting them and saying they can't win without Carson Wentz, and it's understandable. But this team really rallied around each other, and they came together and they used it as motivation, and they held on to a close, hard-fought victory against Atlanta Falcons last weekend. But I do think that this week, some of that motivation after that first game is going to be a little down, and reality is going to set in. And I just think the Minnesota Vikings have a better defense. Case Keenum is a step better than Nick Foles, and the great receiving core. Minnesota. I just feel like Minnesota is going to come out on top. I like Minnesota. I'm going to say 17-14 in a low scoring.
I think it's going to be a low scoring game, but yeah, props to Philadelphia. Being the underdogs last week against Atlanta, basically shut them down offensively. And I kind of going just a quick point about the Atlanta offense. I am very disappointed that they announced that Steve Sarkisian will be back next year as the Falcons offensive coordinator. I felt a change was definitely needed there. We'll see. I hope he improves, but I just wanted to get that out there, get that off my chest. I've been holding that in.
You don't believe in Steve?
I don't believe in Steve, but we'll see. Maybe we'll see improvement next year. But moving on, great win for Philadelphia. Good defensive performance. Nick Foles did just enough for that offense to get the dub. But I like the Vikings this week. Vikings, just offensively, I just feel like you said, I think Case Keenum is a better quarterback right now than Nick Foles. And with Thielen and Stephon Diggs are playing out of their minds for the receiving core. The Eagles have solid receiving. Like Alshon Jeffrey's very solid. And then Nelson Aguilar is having the best year of his career. But, I would take Thielen and Diggs over that. They're due any day.
Right.
Of the
Me
week.
too. I agree.
So I'm going to kind of go low scoring too. I'm going to say the Vikings go into Philadelphia and get the win 20-14. I just feel Minnesota right now, like defensively, they are very good defensive football. And I think they had a tough matchup this past week going against the Saints. I'm sorry for you Saints fans. I know that was a tough.
It was tough.
How the game ended was very tough. But definitely this is a bright future for New Orleans. But I think the Vikings defensively are going to shut down Nick Foles. I don't think he's going to be able to do enough. And then offensively, they're going to do with Case Keenum and Latavius Murray and Jared McKinnon and D-line and Diggs. They're going to do enough offensively to get the win.
The score was
20-14.
20-14. I like it. I think that's going to be some good, excellent points there. Speaking of, we kind of talked about it a little bit with the Saints. Speaking of them, going back to last week's game between Minnesota and the Saints, do you think the Saints can recover from the devastating loss to the Vikings next season and make another run?
Yes, they can. All right, I know Drew is getting up there in age. We all know this. We all know he's getting up there in age. It's understandable for people to question it. Why haven't the Saints addressed the situation and getting him a good backup? They've tried. Just guys haven't panned out. This Saints team, I feel, is one good draft class away from really taking that next step. They should have beat Minnesota. And honestly, when you think about it, I would have picked them to beat Philadelphia, go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
It didn't work out that way. and I'm sorry for Saints Nation. I'm really sorry because I've been there. I know in tough situations. I know it's tough, but New Orleans Saints fans, keep your heads up because you have a bright future ahead.
Yeah, you made some excellent points there with Drew Brees and this young defense. I'm obviously everybody knows I'm a Saints fan. I'm out there with all the other guys, feeling how big this loss affected me, and I know it affected the city a lot. But I know during tough times with failure comes motivation. I think this Saints team is going to come back next year ready to go. I am a little concerned though. I did look at our schedule for next season. When you have good seasons like we had this year. You end up playing good teams, and that's understandable. So we're going to have a lot more competition next year. So I think that's a concern. But I think we're going to come back in with the right mindset. Look for us to hopefully we get another good draft class and add some beef up front on the front seven and on defense, and maybe add another receiver to back up Michael Thomas on the other side. I think Ted going to be a better slot.
I think Ted going to be a better slot guy. They need a good number to address that. It doesn't have to be necessarily drafted. Maybe go get a good number vet, and that way you can move Ted Ginn to the slot. They have a lot of good receivers coming out in this free agency class. Maybe even maybe like a Mike Wallace or somebody. You don't go get a big name guy. Just go get a 1 year guy.
I think some names to look for in free agency for the Saints. Maybe like a Julian Edelman or an Allen Robinson. You might have to pay him a little more, but those are some two names that come to mind.
Those names would be the more expensive route.
I think Edelman would be a kind of a maybe a cheap option.
I don't know if he'd leave.
I mean, he might not leave, but he's a free agent. I'm just saying some names out there to look for. But I think the Saints team is going to be back. I think we're fine. Young defense.
I would say really good young defense.
Yeah, Marshawn
Maybe just address the front seven a little more.
I've been seeing a lot of hate stuff on social media about Marcus Williams. I just want to say, y'all need to cut that out. This kid did all he could do for this Saints team this year, and he's a reason why we were where we were playing safety. He's a great young player. He's only 21 years old. He made a mistake, no doubt. But he's going to learn from it.
Who hasn't made a mistake as a 21-year-old?
And he's going to learn from it, and we need to rally as a fan base. We need to rally around this guy and build him up instead of taking him down. And I think he's going to do great things.
If you guys take him down, you're going to regret the future because he has a bright young future.
And he's going to be a big part of our team going forward. If we win a Super Bowl in the next couple of years, he's going to be one of the huge contributors on that team. Absolutely. So we need Marcus Williams. Everybody go out there. We believe in 43.
I agree. Get behind him. Don't put him down. Get behind him. Pick him back up. I heard he was very emotional. That's what I was telling everybody. I'm sure nobody feels worse than he does.
Exactly. And that's how,
as mad as everybody was, you really think that you're more mad than he is?
Exactly.
He was in that situation.
You can see the pain in his eyes in that post game interview. You can see he was heartbroken like the rest of us were. But we make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. Our mistakes come in front of our own families and stuff. His came in front of millions of people watching on TV. And I just think that we need to give this kid a break and let him get better and let him mature as a player and as a person.
Yeah, but kind of moving on to we were able to talk about the Saints. I kind of do want to talk about the Falcons a little bit and what they need to address in the offseason. And I know you've watched a few Falcons games this year. To me, I just feel the Falcons really, one of the things they need to address is definitely the O-line. Because last year we had such a dominant offensive line. You had Chester at the right guard, a good vet, and now he retired. And now they had Wes Schweitzer at the right guard, and you could just tell that he struggled.
Right.
And then when Levitri went down and Ben Garland filled in for him in the left guard, he also struggled. So
I think for the Falcons, I would like to see them, get another safety, put with Keanu Neal or maybe another DB. I would say Desmond Trufant. You watch him more than I do. I think that's a need.
I've been saying for years, I love Robert Alford because he gets a lot of turnovers, but he also gets a lot of penalties.
Right.
He gets a lot, but I would think he would be a great slot corner if given the opportunity. And I just think if we get a good big number 2 guy to help Trufant out, I think that would really help our defense out. And I like Ricardo Allen at the safety position, but I do think we can do a little bit better than him.
Right.
Get a guy good next to Keanu. Keanu Neal's fine. Keanu Neal's one of the hardest hitting safeties right now. Not just for young. No, the whole league.
Yeah, he's a great player.
And then our D line is very good. I think Tack McKinley came on huge at the end of the season.
He showed that y'all's investment did pay off a little bit.
So I'm definitely looking for big things for him next year. But I think definitely our first round pick needs to be. Another thing too is it might be a D tackle, depending on what we do with Ontario Poe.
Right.
I don't know what kind of money he's going to be asking for in the offseason, so that's going to be enough. If he wants too much, maybe we let him go. Because you got to think, Grady Jarrett, the other D tackle, he's a free agent next year.
Right.
And I would think we'd want him more than Poe.
I can see, if Poe leaving, I can see y'all maybe kind of switching over more towards a 3-4 defense and playing Grady Jarrett up front and having, Vic Beasley on the outside. Maybe that would be a,
Maybe that would fit. I mean, that could fit better for the group we have. And then you could have a Campbell and a Dion in the middle. I think that would be awesome. That would be phenomenal.
I think that would be a dangerous team with that.
I think so too. But
so
as always, to close out our show,
stud of the week.
Stud of the week, baby. I guess I'll start off with my stud of the week. Gotta be, you were talking about him earlier, the local boy, Leonard Fournette. My man had 109 yards, and this is why he's the stud of the week. 3 rushing touchdowns.
Yep.
The Pittsburgh Steelers could not stop this man.
Absolutely not.
And, I mean, he had 25 carries for 109 yards, so that average is not, phenomenal. But if you watch the game, his runs were hard. He made sure you felt that those 2-yard gains felt, for those linebackers and DBs, felt like they were like 20-yard gains.
Right.
I mean, he took a toll on that defense, and he was definitely the reason why, with the defense, why they beat the Pittsburgh Steelers
I think so
this
too.
week.
They couldn't stop the run. He had the 3 touchdowns. For them to beat the New England Patriots, he's going to have a huge game.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He's going to have to be the key for why they beat them.
Yeah, so my start of the week, I hate to do this because I don't want to seem biased, but man, I got to go to the local boy, Anthony Davis, the Brow. Give me some, young fella. My man having himself a week.
Yes, he did.
30 points a couple games ago. He had 40 at Madison Square Garden. I think it was 41, 42. And then last night, 48 Madison Square Garden, I'm sorry. And last night he finished with another 40-point game against the Boston Celtics. Got to give my man some company and some props.
Anytime a guy has 3 straight 40-point games,
exactly,
you got to give him love.
And, they're playing tonight against the Atlanta Hawks. Maybe he can add a 4th one right there and try to get another W. But I think Anthony Davis playing MVP type basketball right now. And I think he needs to get a lot more MVP recognition. So just want to give a shout out to him, Anthony Davis.
Yeah, I definitely well deserving of start of the week. The performance he's done this past week.
So to kind of close out our show, I guess I'll go with my shout out. I just want to give a shout out to I know it's a tough loss this week, and my shout out I just want to give to Who Dat Nation. Y'all stay strong, and I promise you, I know it in my heart we will be back. So,
we'll see. We're definitely gonna wait and see. But as always, good night, America.